It's 5 o'clock and we can start. I would like to start this webinar with a quick introduction. So first of all, welcome everyone. And I would really appreciate if you could give me a few numbers in the chat, depending on where you are in your personal branding and business building journey. So if you're just actually, if you already have a business or if you're actively growing a personal brand, give me a 1 in the chat. If you're planning to start a business and a personal brand, give me a 2. Give me a 3 if you tried building a business, nothing really worked, and where's the echo coming from? Wait a second, I will mute everyone. So this is better. Yes. And give me a 4 if you join just because this masterclass is free. 2, 1, 1. Hey, we have a few people already actively running a business. That's great to hear. Anyone else? Katja from Volkshilfe, I think you did a workshop with me, right? On meta advertising.
Hello, exactly. I'm here.
Cool. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. Yeah, nice to see you too.
Cool. Anyone else wants to share where they are in their business journey? Okay, then the next question that I would have for you is how often do you use AI? So give me a 1 if you're using it every day, 2 if you don't use it right now daily, but you want to learn how to use it properly, and 3 if you write everything yourself. Like, are there people who write anything themselves? Ruth, you are probably the only one in the universe who writes everything herself. Do you want to share why you're writing everything yourself? I'm just very interested. It's very rare. Okay, and can you also give me in the chat what tools you use? Oh, Ruth, are you trying to speak? I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I just put my microphone on. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of a thing like I worry about the environment and the impact of the environment, of AI on the environment. And so, it also like feels a little bit soulless, but I think I'm coming around now more to sort of the limited ways that you can use it to like enhance doing your own work rather than just like having it replace everything. I think I'm just finding my way with it because it seems to be the thing that's happening. So
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. It's really great. You're definitely right that it feels soulless. And I really wish more people continued writing themselves because I feel like social media content has become extremely boring and interchangeable. So that's really great. We have some people sharing. Okay, we have Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, Node X AI assistant. Yeah, well, I, for example, use Phantom. It's also really great in meetings like this. He automatically does the whole transcript, recording, and then key points and even action points. So it's like really great for meetings. We have ChatGPT, Canva AI, Magic Tools. Yeah, I love those as well. Perplexity Pro. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really, really great. So just to explain to you my setup, I have my slides here and my laptop with all of your faces here. So in case like you see me looking down, that's not because I'm talking to my dog who might show up at some point. That's because I'm looking at you guys. So, okay, let's start. I'm very excited you're here, and I want to make sure that you are in the right place today. So this is not an intro to AI, and I will not be teaching you how to prompt. This is also not going to be like an overview of AI tools. We have one specific goal today. It is to create an agent that can write in your voice and style. And this is very important to me. And I'm going to talk to you about why it is so. So this is for people who already know the basics, who worked with different AI tools, and now they want to take control of their voice, not to blend in with everyone else on social media. And also, this is for people who want to stand out and be recognizable and who want to find their voice, like fine-tune it and make sure that it is consistent over all platforms and over all written material. So this is going to be my goal, to facilitate this process for you so you can save hours creating content, because it's faster with AI, but it still is high quality and it still sounds like you. So I hope this is the right place. This is what you expected from this webinar, because this is what we're gonna do today. I want to introduce myself quickly. So my name is Angelika Tauba, and I'm a former cancer researcher turned personal brand strategist. And I worked with founders, entrepreneurs, and experts, and I help them build and monetize their personal brands. And when I mean build and monetize, it means that I, with my own hands, build their brand strategy, build their online presence, because I create websites, and we create also social media content. So I have founded Content Fash, a content marketing agency for business creators and experts. And I'm also a lecturer. For the last 4 years, I've been teaching meta advertising. I've been teaching social media marketing. I've taught over 250 students, from marketers to entrepreneurs, business owners, like really a ton of great people. And 29th of January is a big day for me, because I'm officially starting Personal Brand University. So this is a program for 12 months where me and other ambitious entrepreneurs sit together and I guide them how they build their brands from scratch, from the strategy into implementation, online presence systems, funnels, webinar launches, and so on. So this is shortly about me. This is just an overview of people that I worked with, like ranging from Olympians, keynote speakers, creators, really high-level experts. And I'm also very actively creating content for myself. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. I have set myself a challenge to post every day, and I've been really consistent for the last 2 months. Sometimes I've even posted twice a day because I just have too many ideas. If you want to connect, I will be very happy. And I'm also actively posting on Instagram. The content there is different, it's more fun. But my whole content creation journey actually started with my dog Instagram account, where I learned the whole reel creation skills, the whole writing, and somehow it grew and keeps growing, and engagement is so great. So I love doing it with him, also because he's so cute. So this is a short overview about me. And I'm happy that you shared in the beginning, so I know a bit better who you are and what you're doing. So I want to start with a few AI content creation myths. I want to bust them, and I want to give you a new reframe how you can think about creating content with AI. So first of all, what people think, I can create content with AI and post it just as is. This is definitely not true, because people will notice. And I'm going to show you an example on the next slide. The next myth is speed in posting every day is more important than depth. That means that you want to be consistent. You want to make sure that you create content every day, because they say you need to post every day to grow, which is true. But that doesn't mean that you need to post sloppy content that people will notice. And like today, I opened my LinkedIn and I saw this post. And I don't know if you've ever seen this kind of opening line on LinkedIn, but it kills me. And I literally don't even ever read further than this. So this is a very common pattern. Most companies don't have a data problem, or like most experts don't have an X problem. Most entrepreneurs don't do this wrong. And then they, like, it states what is the problem. And then there is this whole like AI generated post. when I see this, most eggs don't have this X problem or do this wrong, I don't read anymore because I know this is AI written, and my reaction is like this guy from the office here. I want to see if any one of you has ever noticed this pattern on LinkedIn. Let me know, because I see it everywhere. And if you haven't seen this before, you will start noticing, because this is like the #1 pattern that AI gives you, because it's trained to write LinkedIn posts on this very typical problem agitate solution framework, where it states the problem, then agitates with like more problematic things, and then it gives a solution, which is like your offer framework or whatever it is you are doing. So yeah, people will notice. The next thing is that I'll just tweak it a little bit and it will sound human. I have tried this also with my own content, because when I set this challenge for myself that I will be posting every day, which is, I used to post 3 to 4 times a week. And then I said, okay, let's do it every day. And then I was so worried that I will not have enough good ideas that I let AI write for me. And then I thought like, okay, I'll just tweak the introduction so this pattern doesn't come up. And like in the beginning, I can trick people into reading, and then maybe they will read. Didn't work. It sounded horrible. And then when I looked at my own content, I was like, oh my God, did I really post it? I hated it. So I don't do that anymore. Just tweaking it a little bit really does not work. Some people believe that AI will get better over time, so they don't need a system. And that's true. If you remember AI from 2 years ago, it would write in like a very formal way, and it would put the word 12 like everywhere, especially in scientific papers. Like that's when I was still transitioning from science to marketing. And I was still like reading and writing scientific papers, and this word 12 was everywhere. And I was like, oh my God. And the other myth that I hear people say, that if everyone sounds like this, it doesn't matter, because like, yeah, it's not bad, it's average. But we don't want to be average. Like, I don't want to be average. And I think if you're here, you also don't want to be average. You want your content to be recognizable. You want to build authority so that people can say, yeah, she is or he is awesome, and I read their content every day. So this is what I also want for you. So today we're gonna make a big reframe from using AI into designing AI behavior. And there is a huge difference, but it's not hard. And I'm gonna show you step by step how you can do this. So what I want you to achieve after today is that you can build a system where your content and prompting don't start from zero every time. So you don't find yourself in a situation where you open ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity and you're like, okay, I need to write a prompt. That's annoying, especially if you want good outcome. Your prompts have to be pretty good and pretty long, so that's time consuming. Also, I want AI to remember context for you, so they know they're trained on your target audience, your company data, your offers, your tone of voice, super important. I want your voice to be recognizable, and I want you to save hours. So this is what I want you to achieve. And yeah, let's get started. Give me a yes in the chat if everything that I told you now makes sense, like why we are doing it and why this is important. And if you want to build an agent like this for your personal brand that makes your content sound and feel like you. So I just want to see if you, yes, it's awesome. Hey, yeah, cool. So Jack said that they noticed that pattern as well. Awesome. Cool. I'm very happy. Let's go then. Let's do it. How to save hours on content creation with custom GPT. So let's first of all think a little bit about what does it actually even mean to be recognizable. So I decided to put together a few different brands, like 2 personal and 1 product brand, and show you a little bit how different these brands are and how recognizable they are even in their writing. So one is what I would call a micro celebrity, Gary Vee. I think every entrepreneur pretty much knows this person. And his brand is the kind of brand that he calls people out on their bullshit in a very direct way. So if you ever read his content, it's very direct, pretty much blunt. He is not afraid to use words like fuck. Like one of his very viral videos on TikTok was where he was just eating blueberries, and in the end he said, "I'm onto you fuck faces." So if a very influential person who speaks on huge global stages, who is looked up to, can speak like this and can post content like this and can stand for it, like we have nothing to be afraid of. And this is his thing, being provocative, no excuses, direct, street level, like really conversational language, with profanity sometimes, but that's his style and that's okay. And it's recognizable through all the content that you see from him. Now, the lady in the middle is Alex Catoni. I actually learned copywriting from some of her courses, and I really love her and her copy pose. It's like copywriting agency kind of thing. And so I love reading their newsletters because their voice is so funny. It's like they love memes, I love memes, so like we really vibe on this one. It's friendly, conversational, empowering, and playful, and it just like makes me feel so good when I read it. So I would recognize their voice over all the voices. And then Oatly. I don't know if you know this brand, but this is like a star of bizarre language, like in a way that it's super funny, and it's just incredible that somebody one day said, yeah, put this on a milk box, no milk, no soy, no whatever. This is hilarious. They are totally anti-corporate. They are unique. Of course, now many brands are copying this, but they were the first ones to go this file. Like, for example, this blue screenshot is from the side where there are like the nutrition facts written, and they're like the boring side, but very important. If you feel bored, don't read it, skip it if you want to enjoy. So it's awesome. It's cheeky. It's rebellious, and it's so memorable. So I would choose this brand over any other oat milk brand, just because it makes me feel so good when I read this. So voices are super recognizable, and as personal brands, we can stand out from this slop, AI slop in the internet, and we can be remembered for this. But we need to know what it means to be recognizable and how we want to sound. So what do you need to define your voice and then train your agent to sound like you? So you need to set clear voice boundaries, and you need to define these things for you. First of all, you need to know what is your tone of voice. Then you also need to select typical vocabulary. So if in real world you say words like damn or screw, use them, because this will come off very real, very relatable, and there won't be any blindside effect when somebody meets you on the street and then suddenly you're like a complete crazy head, and then online you're like all proper and professional. That actually would not be good for your personal brand. And then you also need to define typical no-no phrases, like things that you would never say. And I'm going to show you some examples, especially those that are overused by ChatGPT and other AI, so that you make sure that they do not come up in your content. So now I'm going to show you something scary. But I don't want to discard you, I want to show you how much depth there is actually when you try to define your voice. So all of these things, and I have a second slide with different adjectives that define a voice. And you don't need like hundreds. You can take the best combination of all these different groups and decide how you want to sound. If you don't know what they mean or how it would look like in a real language, you can ask ChatGPT, okay, give me an example of a quirky tone of voice, like of a brand with a quirky tone of voice. And he will list you something. Definitely Oatly will come up among those. And just read their content and see, okay, is this the kind of voice that you want to sound like, or is it too much? You can create a range. Like usually when we define the tone of voice with my clients, we have like a spectrum, for example, going from irreverent to super serious. Like you want to find the right position on the spectrum between these different ones, but it's very important that you define, okay, how do you want to sound? Do you want to sound emotional, super passionate? That's also possible. Do you want to sound vulnerable? This is all your personality, and you need to think about what it is and how you want people to see you. And you should be authentic. You should be yourself, and then you need to find a language that suits it. Now, this is the second slide, and all of this still refers to the type of language. So if it's rebellious, defiant, go for it. This is you. People will remember it. And the more you post in the same language, the more you will brand yourself in their brains. So every time they will see this, they get this feeling from reading your content, they will be like, yeah, this is this person, and they will never forget you. I want to give you an encouragement that it's okay to be crazy. Like if your voice is, I don't know, maniac, like if you're a maniac in real life, just go for it online. Just like I mentioned, Gary Vee, think about Alex Hormozy, if you know him. Do you know him? Like he looks like a homeless person. He wears this home wife beater in most of his videos. And if he can make millions, and if he can sell million copies of his books, and he can have million followers, we can also be ourselves and stand for what we believe in, or for who we are, and be authentic. So be free when you decide what you want to sound like. And if it's crazy, then be crazy. Now, the next thing what I mentioned, what you need to define when you set your voice boundaries, is repeated vocabulary. So these are the things that you often say in real life. This is kind of like your verbal fingerprints. So if you are somebody who says, yeah, all, or literally, or crap, include them in your language. And we will come to training your ChatGPT. What would help you, if you want these phrases to be taken over by AI, it would help you if you just speak into the dictate function in ChatGPT. So he transcribes everything you say and then analyzes your natural voice. So sometimes when I drive and I have like an idea for a post, I turn on ChatGPT dictate function and I just speak, and he transcribes. And then I also take this and I put it back into my custom agent. So he keeps updated about how I sound and what phrases I'm using right now, because, you know, things change. So try that. So because these micro patterns is something that makes you sound you. And if you ask your friends or your family, they will definitely name a few things that you say a lot. Like do it as an exercise, ask them, then you will be like, oh, do I really say that? And then write like this. That will make your content very recognizable. And then the final thing is typical no-no phrases, what you never use. So for example, for my agent, what I have defined are all these words that have become overused by AI. So this is an example of Delve that I already mentioned. When AI just popped up, we saw a huge rise of the use in this word, like that was not really used before so much, which is crazy that people just like without thinking started posting it everywhere. But it depends on your industry, what kind of words come up a lot. So in my industry, in marketing, I hear the word fluff all the time. And now I feel sick when I see this word. Now, another thing that ChatGPT often does, and actually other language models as well, is this negation constructs. Maybe you have noticed like X, not Y. For example, clarity, not noise, or brave, not loud, something like this. Like it comes up everywhere, and it is annoying. I cannot see this anymore. And another type of this negation construct that ChatGPT does is like, today was not about using AI better, it was about changing your relationship with this contrast, constant contrast. Like ChatGPT cannot just write things the way they are. He always needs to write how they are not. And like in my agent, I very clearly said, write the way they are, because the problem with writing X not Y is that we tend to remember the last thing that we hear. So if we finish something with a negative sentence, then the people will get rather a negative feeling in the end instead of a positive and encouraging one. And like the other thing that I already mentioned, this most X have problem with Y, or most X do this wrong. This is a very typical opening when you ask ChatGPT to write a LinkedIn post. So I've trained not to do that, and I would recommend you the same. So this is again the same example of this post that I saw today. Okay, so what do you need? What is actually a custom GPT? It's a personalized agent that you can train to do content or strategies or any kind of routine task, like anything that you do repeatedly. And you can tailor its behavior. You can tailor its tone, its knowledge, its database, everything that it pulls information from. So instead it pulling from the data that it's trained on, yeah, from the internet, it can pull from your knowledge. So if you, for example, give a bunch of webinars like this one, you can put them together and put them into your custom GPT, and it will take your information, your specific knowledge, your specific IP, and your ideas will be yours and not somebody's. Because the problem with just writing a prompt in the chat is that, especially if you're not giving any of your own ideas, which is like a total no, always tell exactly what should be included in the post. Otherwise, the output you'll get will be average, because ChatGPT is trained and other AIs are trained on the information in the internet. And so if you don't give any idea inputs that should be included, it will draw from the internet. So the result will be average, and your content will be average, and people will just scroll by. The other thing is that custom GPTs remember commands forever, and you can continuously improve, optimize, and update. So it will be an agent for years to come, and it can write in your style, voice, and structure. So how do you build one? It's actually quite simple. The hardest part is step 2, where you need to collect a bunch of data. But you would start with defining your GPT's purpose, like what should it do? For example, I would recommend you to do custom GPTs one per task. So I have, for example, one that helps me write communication strategy for my clients. So because I have a specific template of this communication strategy, so I give all the documents into this chat, and we go step by step, and this agent knows exactly, okay, the first step would be to write a signature bio, second step would be to define a category, third step would be to define the niche message, and then we go step by step. And while like I analyze all the output and brainstorm together and then choose and rewrite and select what fits best for my client, I know that he knows what the next step is, and it makes the whole process easier. And the same, for example, for my newsletters, I have trained my custom GPT to write newsletters in the exact structure, in the exact voice. So I love my newsletters. And in the end, there is always the same signature. So I don't need to like copy paste the same stuff. It comes out already perfect. No, close to perfect. So you need to know what is the task that it will be performing, and do not combine like multiple tasks. Best to have different agents trained for a specific purpose. Then the next thing is actually training your GPT. You need to give it a lot of data. And when I mean a lot, like as detailed as possible. So I want you to give a description of your target audience with their problems, desires, wishes, I know, typical day in life, and everything that deserves belongs to definition of your ideal client avatar, because this will give also much better understanding to ChatGPT what should be in your content or how they should write and approach it so that the output is best for your target audience, because in the end, it's all about them and they should like reading it. Then we also need to give it a very clear brand communication. So you need to define your stance, your values, your vision, your mission, everything that belongs to it, because in the end, and also like your personal story, because we want the content to be personal for you, for your brand, so that we keep implanting those ideas about what you're working for, why you are even there online. So people start remembering it. And then at some point when they think about, okay, I need this investment advisor and I align with their values, so I'm gonna, and I like their content, so I'm gonna reach out to them. And then what is also very important is repeatable point of views and contrarian beliefs. So for example, when my clients, when we work and define their content strategy, we don't define any content pillars, because I think like it's a complete bullshit. Actually, you don't want to just post content in some certain like themes. What you actually want to do is make sure that your beliefs are amplified, so people know you for your beliefs. Because in the end, as an expert, if you want to be recognized and invited to speak on podcast stages, if you want to write a book, you need to reinforce a specific belief pattern on your audience. So they need to recognize you for your beliefs and point of views, and they should be uniquely yours. They cannot be drawn from internet by AI. You need to come up with them yourself. So this is something that we define with my clients, and I also do for myself, so that they always come up with my content, so that I reinforce these beliefs on my audience and become known for them. And then the fourth thing is tone of voice. We discussed already how many nuances there are in one's tone of voice. But if you cannot define your tone of voice yourself, the best thing that you can do is write a few pieces of your content, like in your voice. Write yourself, like sit down and write, and like forget that AI exists. Sit down and write best long form content. Like for example, set yourself a goal. Next 3 months, you will be releasing one blog article per month, and you will write that article yourself. And you will be inspired and motivated, and I know, create an environment, light a candle, so that like you feel the inspiration, and write yourself with your own voice. Because the best thing is not just telling AI, okay, this is how I want to sound, but actually to show it so it can analyze your voice and directly implement it. Then step 3 is customizing your prompts and instructions, so you can fine tune every tag. So like exactly how you want your LinkedIn posts to be, or your newsletters to be, or your blog articles. Or for example, if you're a copywriter and you write sales pages, and you, for example, have a specific template in what order the copy on the sales page should be, you can put it in there so it's trained exactly on your instructions. And the final step is test, refine. Yeah, consistently, I update my agents quarterly, and this is a very good habit to do so. So let me show you how this would look like in practice. So step 1, defining your GPT's purpose. So this is a copy paste from when I was creating my agent 2 years ago. So first I described that I need a copywriter for my business who writes exactly my voice to my target audience based on my service, my approach and style. And then I told the GPT what I will need it for. So this one was like a general copywriter for all things, for all written things. So I said like writing of SEO, landing pages, webinar landing pages, blog articles, email, social media posts. But then I created like very specialized agents just for LinkedIn and just for newsletter, because I saw that the output when it has to do so many things was not so good. But it still wrote everything in my voice. It just couldn't keep the very specific structure. Like if there is a big difference between a 4,000 words blog article and I don't know, a 300 word Instagram caption, it will get confused. So it's better to separate those things. So the second step is training your ChatGPT. You upload all relevant documents and you define how it should answer. You set boundaries. So here, examples of what I already also mentioned, what you should include: your brand story, brand tone of voice, examples of your written text. Detailed product service description. Case study is super important, because if you're, for example, writing a conversion oriented post for LinkedIn and you want to mention a success story that has happened through your work, and if your agent is already trained on all of your case studies, so you can just mention, okay, can you also take this example from all of my case studies, and it will like talk specifically about the results of this client. Detailed audience analysis and repeatable point of views and contrarian beliefs. Now, this is how it can look like, how I did it for myself. For example, I said my agency is called Content Punch. My name is Angelica Tauba. I'm an online marketer for personal brands. I do this and this and this. Here's my website, study information on this. And then I provided presentations with frameworks I work with my customers, my templates and all of the focus areas and everything that I do. So I described all of my offers in details. And so I had this huge collection of different documents that I provided, so that this agent is trained on all of my frameworks and everything that I do, and knows all of my case studies and knows my tone of voice, and is trained on how I already written blog articles and emails. Then I have also defined the following things. So here's the unique value proposition of Content Flash, benefits, brand guidelines, description of my target audience, description of my tone of voice, examples of writing, and what about me I wanted to know. So it's a lot of details, but the great thing is that you do it once and it serves you for years. So I did it 2 years ago and I still use it all the time. And then the final thing in training your GPT is details. Whether you wanted to write in British English or American English. For example, in American English, they capitalize every word in the headline. In Europe, we don't do this. So like, I don't want that to happen to my headlines. You might have also noticed this long hyphen used as punctuation by ChatGPT all the time. So I asked him not to do that. So these are like small details, but that are very important. And it's not like that I don't want people to know that I use AI to write some of my stuff, but I don't want to be judged for sloppy AI usage. So I don't want somebody to look at my content and say, oh, it's long hyphen, definitely written by ChatGPT, like she didn't think that herself. Like, I don't want people to do that. I can tell you a story. I have submitted my PhD thesis for review to my professor. And because I'm not a native speaker, I don't always use the articles correctly. And he always complained about that. And it's like 50 pages. And it was some time ago. So it was in the beginning of the whole AI. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to find out where is the right article? Like, because I don't know, I need to like hire a native speaker to find those articles. And so then I thought, okay, I'm gonna put it into ChatGPT, so he puts all the articles correctly. But of course, the output was that he put the long hyphens. And back then I wasn't so smart, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna delete all this long hyphens by hand. And then I didn't notice a few, and then I sent it to my professor, and he was like, did you rewrite now everything is ChatGPT? Like, there are these long hyphens. And I was so embarrassed because I didn't. So, and it was so much work to remove them. So if you have an agent who is already trained with these specific instructions, you don't have to be in such an embarrassing situation as I was. So, and step 3, customizing your prompts and instructions per task. So for example, if you are creating an agent for your newsletter and you want to end every newsletter with the signature. So for example, this is what I do. And then in the end, there is always, like, after all the value in the newsletter, is I write marketing and business mini courses. But in the end, there is always this call to action to join my personal brand university or to hire my team. So it always comes up. So why would I be typing this myself? Why would I even be copy pasting? So if I write with my agent, he returns me this input. And the best thing is that the links are already integrated. So I actually don't have to do anything here, and it saves me so much time. Then, for example, if you write blog posts, you can give specific examples and instructions of how it should be outlined. The same for your articles. For example, LinkedIn posts, many people end their LinkedIn posts in a specific way. So this is something that I've seen. If you like this post and want to see more online marketing, personal branding, and then press this bell on my LinkedIn profile to be notified or follow. So this is also how I used to end all of my LinkedIn posts. It's not the case right now, but still. So this would save me a lot of time from, like, instead of searching for it somewhere, I would get this signature in the end every single time. And then the last step is testing and refining. So when you're creating a custom GPT, by the way, I will show you during Q&A where it is actually in ChatGPT, where you can find it. But basically on the left, there is like a library of GPTs. And when you go there, there are already a ton of agents ready for your use. Like, for example, I found one really great GPT that writes great hooks for LinkedIn posts. It's great, like super specific and trained on most viral LinkedIn posts. I don't know if it's updated, but I've used it, was really great. Then, for example, there is another custom GPT also for LinkedIn made by Chris Donnelly. He's the fastest growing creator on LinkedIn. And so they've started, like, he and a buddy of his, Will McTighe, they started the Say What, like as a software that helps you write content for LinkedIn. And they also released a custom GPT because that Say What business, they like analyze a ton of viral and high performing content on LinkedIn. And they then create like a quarterly report on what was working, what wasn't working, what are the stats, what you should be doing. And then they turn that report into a custom GPT. So you can like take your post and audit it to make sure whether it would perform according to the latest statistics and the latest things that work on the platform. So this is where you would find it. And when you start creating your custom GPT, you will have on the left side is a side where you're prompting, and on the right side where you can check the behavior. So you would be putting all the things that I've shown you on the left side. But when you're ready to test it, you would be doing that on the right side. And for example, you could give him a task. Okay, let's practice writing an email. Here's what I want to be included, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and if the output is good, on the left side, you would then write, okay, this is good email, remember it. And then it would update its memory and would try to keep up the standard all the time. So this was an example of how I was testing my agent for blog articles. I told him how it should write, what it should be about, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got the output, I was like, okay, I want to improve the first sentence because it started in today's digital world or in today's competitive market. And it was so horrible. Like, nobody would read anything that starts with this sentence because it's super boring and corporate. So I told him that to never use an introduction like this and give more specific instructions on how I want the introductions to be. So refining it like this and giving your specific feedback, and most importantly then taking what was good and putting it back so it learns and memorizes is extremely important. So the best practices, what I would recommend you, what I do myself, which is tedious, but the output is just so much better and it saves you so much time. So I have a document with the best output. So for example, I have an agent for LinkedIn posts, and then for 3 months, I use it to help me write my LinkedIn posts. And then I go to my LinkedIn account and I take the best performing posts, like the ones that brought the most engagement, the most reach, and so on. So I put it in a Word document, and once a quarter, I put it back into my agent and say, okay, this performed the best, so learn from them and let's try to make more posts like this. Feedback is extremely important. So always tell him, and always tell him to remember. Then you will not have to waste time repeating yourself all the time. And I do ask you to always add your own touch, even if your agent is amazing and can really replicate your voice really well and can save you a lot of time. I would recommend you to use AI just as the first draft. I ask you to not be lazy because your audience will notice. And it can actually even harm your brand if people think that you're lazy and you don't care what you write. And it's just important for you to keep practicing your writing muscle, because I feel that this is so scary if we all start relying on AI so much that if one day we don't have any tools or internet, we won't be capable of doing anything ourselves anymore. And writing is a muscle. That's why it's important that every now and again you do it yourself. Even if it's not perfect, people will like it even more. So now, before we go into Q&A, let's do a quick recap. What we have gone through today, it was, I think, like 40 minutes that I was talking non-stop. We have gone through why most AI generated content is generic, because it averages all the data from the internet. There is a difference between prompting AI all the time and designing AI behavior in form of an agent. How to define your tone of voice, set boundaries, and verbal fingerprints. I showed you what a custom GPT is and how you can build one. And you saw, okay, we have gone through this process in just like 20 minutes, me explaining. Now you know what you need to do. You just collect all these ones, put it in there, and refine with time, and you will thank me later. And how to save hours without flattening your brand's voice. So now to reactivate you again, give me a yes in the chat if you feel like this is something that you would implement for yourself and your business, if it feels reasonable, that this is something that you can do. And if you also don't want to sound generic and repeat prompts every time and waste time on this instead of like training it once. And if you want to be recognizable as a brand. Yes, awesome. Cool. Okay, so before we go to the Q&A, I just want to very quickly tell you about one more thing that I'm doing next week. So today's masterclass was actually masterclass number 4. Some people were already at my previous masterclasses that I was doing in December. So these masterclasses are leading to the Personal Brand University launch. And next week, I actually decided to do a bootcamp. So not just like a 45-minute kind of thing, but 4 days of high-level strategy to guide you into what you need to be doing in 2026 to build your personal brand. So I charge 15 euros for this just to guarantee that people sign up, because I don't want people to sign up and then not show up. Also 15 euros so people show up, because I think that this will guarantee commitment more than if it's just a free bootcamp. But for me, it's very important that so many of you have been on these masterclasses with me for the last 2 months. And I want to give like a final boost for this year, so you know the direction, what you have to do, how to define your signature offer, how to define your niche, how to talk about your brand. So it will be over 4 days, 21st to 23rd of January in the evening, and then there will be a bonus session on the January 24th. So we're gonna learn 3 main things. I will give you a personal brand roadmap, so you have the specific direction, what you're doing, what is your next step. Because for many of us, like one person shows who have to deal with everything in our business, or maybe somebody who is like a personal brand and has a business, this is like a nightmare and a headache. I'm gonna give you like a roadmap step by step what to do so that you don't feel overwhelmed and you know what to do next. And I will also share with you the personal brand operating system, how people like us, experts, maximize their revenue, how they sell, what they sell, how to define your signature offer, different revenue streams. And we will map it out for this year, because we will have on the third day Q&A, where I want you to bombard me with questions so that we go deep into what it would look like for your business. And on the bonus session, we will talk about the identity of what it means to step into high visibility and authority online, because many people procrastinate or say they're not consistent because they didn't step into the identity that is required to actually handle the visibility and authority. We will talk about this. So I want this 4-day bootcamp to like set you up for this year. Day 1, personal brand roadmap. Day 2, personal brand operating system. Day 3, Q&A and diagnosis. And then the bonus session where we will talk a lot about the psychological frameworks and exercises. So since we will go in details for all of you, I will only take 30 people. So sign up now. I'm gonna start promoting it also in my newsletter and on social medias. And just very quickly for you, if you don't know about Personal Brand University, this is a 12-month program that's starting on 29th of January, and with a really cool community of unhinged people, like rock stars, because the motto is rock and grow your business. We're gonna go through how to build a personal brand, how to create content, how to create your offers, how to generate leads, because I'm an online marketer, so I am crazy about funnels. We will talk about how you can actually earn money online, how to do webinars, launches, like what I've been doing for Personal Brand University the last 2 months. So I'm going to teach you so you can earn money by selling your knowledge and your wisdom. Okay, so now we have come to an end. Here are the QR codes for the bootcamp and then for the Personal Brand University, if somebody is already certain they want to sign up. And now you can openly turn on your mics and talk openly, or you can put your questions in the chat, however you like. I'm ready to answer. Will there be a recording available? I'm listening, driving the car, and couldn't take notes. Yes, definitely. I'm going to send you a follow-up email with the recording and the slides. The slides are very important because you will just be able to take them and prompt your agent yourself. So of course, I'm going to share that with you. So does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Chris. Yeah, and thank you everyone for staying till the end. You're very welcome. So who of you will be making a content writing agent for themselves? Awesome. Yuli is asking if I will still prompt while using custom GPT or just start with what you want. You don't need to prompt anymore, because in step, what was it, 3, where you define an instruction for that specific purpose. Let me actually open ChatGPT to better demonstrate to you how that would look like. What do you see now? Yeah, you see my GPT. So for example, if I go to my Content Fudge writer, so this is like a very general one, write a storytelling email about business burnout. So this is like, we don't want a topic. Maybe I can show you a better one. This is, for example, the LinkedIn audit. So for example, this is how a custom GPT would look like, and it would have already the prompts. Yeah, these are the prompts that we would define in the step 3. And so for example, this one is very specific: audit my post. You just press it here and he says, okay, input your post text. And then after you have done that, it will give you the analysis of your post. So you don't need to prompt anymore because you will have those 3 or 4 pre-prompted things that are already there. How long did it take me to create an AI agent for the first time, approximately? I have collected all the stuff for some time. It took me a while to nail down my audience in details. But this is something, for example, that you should be doing when you're doing your brand strategy. So for my clients, it goes much faster because I have a very specific framework. So we sit down, we go through business deep dive, the marketing strategy there, we define the target audience in detail, the competitor analysis, and then we do the brand strategy, and there we define the tone of voice and everything and communication in details. Then I have these 2 documents and I put them in. So for my clients, it is much faster. For me, it was longer. But like the whole process, when I already collected everything and I have those documents ready, putting it and prompting maybe 3-4 hours, the process. Then also testing the outputs and giving the feedback to the outputs. Yeah, but collecting is a bit longer in the beginning. Curious if you've tried or felt the quality difference between Custom GPT, Gemini Pro, or Claude. So I have not written anything with Gemini Pro, but I had Claude Pro. The principle for Claude custom project is the same as for custom GPT. And everyone has been saying lately that Claude is so excellent. It's all right. It writes better than untrained GPT, ChatGPT. But in the end, if you ask it to write the LinkedIn post, it will follow the same problem agitate solution structure and will write the same most experts have problem with that and that. And if you don't train it on your voice, it will in the end be the average voice like everyone else. So I have never created, to be honest, a custom Claude project, but you would have to train it in the exact same way as you would train a custom GPT, so it sounds like you and knows your background data. Does anyone have any more questions? Okay, so I hope this webinar was valuable for you. I really enjoyed putting it all together because I actually was doing it out of selfish reasons to see more better content online and more unique and authentic personal brands. That's why I want to encourage you to keep doing this. So if you write with the AI, write it this way instead of writing as everyone else. Yeah, I hope to see you in my bootcamp next week because it will be awesome. 4 days together. And if you have any questions, please shoot me an email. I'm active on LinkedIn. Write me a DM. Write me on Instagram, wherever you want. If you have any more questions popping up in your head later, I will be very happy to answer. Okay? All right, so I will then finish this session and thank you very much for joining. I hope you learned a lot. Great, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you too. I wish you a wonderful evening and let's stay in touch, and I hope to see you at the bootcamp next week. Bye.